What, is it hot?
You think you know Back to the Future until a single missing pine flips a mall sign and the whole movie quietly winks at you. In this video, we uncover 20 hidden secrets that even lifelong fans miss, from the scrapped fridge time machine and the title that almost ruined everything to the 5-week recast that changed film history. Each reveal opens a new door in Hill Valley's timeline. Buckle up. When this car hits 88, your memories might need a serious tune-up. Fact 1. The question that started it all. It all began with a simple moment of curiosity. One afternoon, writer Bob Gale flipped through his father's old high school yearbook and stopped cold. Looking at those smiling teenage faces, he wondered, if I could go back in time and meet my dad as a teenager, would we even be friends? That single question sparked the idea for Back to the Future. What started as a random thought soon evolved into one of cinema's most beloved stories, a mix of humor, time travel, and heartfelt family emotion. Gale's curiosity turned into a film that asks something universal. How well do we really know our parents? And what would happen if we met them before life shaped who they became? That thought experiment changed movie history forever. Fact 2. The time-traveling refrigerator. Before the DeLorean became a legend, the original Back to the Future script featured something far stranger, a time-traveling refrigerator. In early drafts, Marty's adventure began when he climbed into a lead-lined fridge attached to a nuclear explosion site. The blast was supposed to send him hurtling through time. Steven Spielberg quickly vetoed the idea, fearing kids might try to copy it at home, a dangerous thought. That single change reshaped movie history. Replacing the fridge with a sleek mobile DeLorean turned the story from claustrophobic to cinematic. Suddenly, time travel had speed, style, and that unforgettable image of fiery tire tracks across the street. The DeLorean didn't just make sense, it became the beating heart of the film, transforming a risky concept into an icon that fans still dream about driving. Fact 3. The title that almost ruined everything. It's almost impossible to imagine Back to the Future with a different name, but for a moment, that's exactly what nearly happened. When Universal Pictures executives first read the script, Sid Sheinberg sent a memo suggesting the title be changed to Spaceman from Pluto. He thought Back to the Future sounded confusing and wouldn't attract audiences. The filmmakers were horrified, but instead of arguing, Steven Spielberg played it smart. He sent a thank you note, pretending to believe Sheinberg was joking. The executive, not wanting to admit he was serious, dropped the idea. That clever bit of diplomacy saved one of the most iconic titles in movie history. Back to the Future perfectly captured the film's mystery and excitement in just 3 words and proved that sometimes the right name can make cinematic history. Fact 4. 40 rejections before a yes. Believe it or not, Back to the Future was rejected more than 40 times before anyone agreed to make it. Studios didn't get it. Some thought it was too innocent. Others said time travel movies never made money, and a few even told Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis to make it more adult, like Porky's. But the duo refused to compromise their vision. They wanted a funny, heartfelt adventure the whole family could enjoy. After years of rejection, Steven Spielberg read the script and immediately saw its potential. With his support, Universal finally gave the green light. The rest, as they say, is history. Every no built the persistence that powered Back to the Future, proof that even a movie about time travel had to wait for the right moment in time to be born. Fact 5. The 5-week recast that changed everything. At first, Back to the Future starred a completely different Marty McFly. Actor Eric Stoltz was originally cast and even filmed for 5 full weeks. Stoltz was talented and committed, but his version of Marty was darker, more serious, and didn't fit the playful tone the filmmakers wanted. After reviewing the footage, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale made a bold, costly decision. They recast the lead with Michael J. Fox. It meant reshooting nearly half the movie, but the difference was instant. Fox's energy, timing, and humor brought the spark the film was missing. Christopher Lloyd later said the chemistry between them completely transformed the set. That daring switch turned what could have been a decent film into an all-time classic and proved that sometimes the right actor doesn't just play the role, he defines it. Fact 6. 2 jobs, no sleep. Total commitment. When Michael J. Fox finally joined Back to the Future, he was already starring in the hit sitcom Family Ties. That meant living 2 lives at once, filming the TV show during the day and racing to the movie set at night. His schedule was brutal. Finish at 10 10 p.m., head to Universal Studios, shoot until dawn, sleep a few hours, then start over. Crew members said he was running on caffeine and adrenaline, but his enthusiasm never faded. That exhaustion actually fed Marty McFly's frantic energy, always rushing, always slightly out of breath. Christopher Lloyd later joked that Fox was time traveling, just between studios instead of decades. Despite the chaos, he never complained. His dedication became the film's heartbeat, proving that passion and perseverance can bend time, even without a flux capacitor. Fact 7. The mole sign that proved time travel works. One of the smartest hidden details in Back to the Future happens so quietly that most fans miss it. When Marty first meets Doc at the Twin Pines Mall, it's named after the 2 pine trees on the old Peabody farm. But after Marty travels to 1955 and accidentally knocks down one of the trees, everything changes. When he returns to 1985, the sign now reads Lone Pine Mall. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment that perfectly shows how even the smallest actions can alter the future. No dialogue, no explanation, just clever visual storytelling. This single sign is proof that the filmmakers were thinking on every level, turning a throwaway joke into one of the greatest continuity gags in movie history. Time travel never felt so subtle or so genius. Fact 8. The lawsuit that changed Hollywood. After Back to the Future Part 2 was released, fans noticed something strange. George McFly appeared, but actor Crispin Glover didn't actually return. The studio had used old footage, prosthetics, and a stand-in to recreate his face without permission. Glover was furious and took Universal to court, arguing that his likeness had been used without consent. He won a settlement, but more importantly, his case changed movie contracts forever. From then on, studios were required to include clear clauses about using an actor's image, voice, or digital double. What started as a behind-the-scenes dispute became a turning point for performers' rights in Hollywood. So while Glover wasn't really in the sequel, his impact on the film industry is still being felt today, proving that even off-screen, the Back to the Future legacy kept rewriting history. Fact 9. The clocks that predicted the ending. Back to the Future opens with a quiet but genius detail. Doc Brown's lab filled with dozens of ticking clocks. It seems like simple set dressing until you look closer. One clock shows a tiny figure hanging from its hands, perfectly foreshadowing Doc's terrifying moment on the clock tower later in the film. Every gadget humming, every pendulum swinging sets the rhythm for the time travel chaos to come. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale used this opening to subtly tell the audience what kind of story they were about to watch, a race against time itself. It's visual storytelling at its best, the entire ending hidden in the first scene, waiting for viewers to notice years later. In a movie about time, it's only fitting that the very first shot gives away the last. Fact 10. The rock star cameo, hidden in plain sight. One of the funniest Easter eggs in Back to the Future features none other than musician Huey Lewis, the man behind the movie's hit song, The Power of Love. During the high school band auditions, Marty's group plays loud and wild until a stern judge cuts them off saying, "I'm afraid you're just too darn loud." That judge is Huey Lewis himself, dressed as a strict teacher, criticizing his own music. The irony is perfect. The very song that defines the movie's energy is being rejected on screen. Lewis later said the cameo was a joke he couldn't refuse, and fans still cheer when they spot him. It's a quick, clever moment that ties music and storytelling together, proof that even in a film about time travel, rock and roll never misses its cue. Fact 11. The joke hidden in a soda order. When Marty sits at Lou's Cafe in 1955 and asks for a Pepsi free, the waiter shoots back, "You want a Pepsi? You gotta pay for it." To 1980s audiences, it's just a diet soda. But in 1955, the phrase makes zero sense. There was no Pepsi free yet. The same happens when Marty asks for a tab, and Lou says, "You can't have a tab unless you order something." These lines aren't random jokes. They're clever nods to how language and branding change over time. The writers used real products to highlight Marty's displacement. He's not just in another decade, he's in another culture. Those tiny misunderstandings make the time travel feel real, turning a simple soda order into a hilarious reminder that the future isn't just about technology, it's about context. Fact 12. The DeLorean wasn't just a car, it was a character. Choosing the DeLorean as the time machine wasn't just about looks, it was storytelling genius. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis wanted something futuristic yet believable, something that would make people believe time travel could exist. The stainless steel body reflected the flux capacitor lights beautifully, and those iconic gull-wing doors gave every entrance dramatic flair. Plus, the car's real-life reputation, cool design, commercial failure, made it the perfect underdog, just like Marty. Originally, the time machine was supposed to be a refrigerator, but the DeLorean brought movement, speed, and instant personality. John DeLorean himself later thanked the filmmakers for giving his car immortality. Every time it hits 88 mph, audiences still feel the rush. The DeLorean didn't just drive through time, it drove straight into pop culture history. Fact 13. The skateboard chase that made movie history. The skateboard chase through Hill Valley is one of Back to the Future's most thrilling moments, but it took serious teamwork to pull off. Michael J. Fox trained for weeks to ride smoothly, but the riskier stunts, jumping over cars, spinning around Biff's gang, were handled by professional skater Per Wallinder, who doubled for Marty in key shots. The crew carefully matched Fox's movements, clothing, and even posture to make every cut seamless. They used camera tricks, hidden ramps, and precise timing to make the chase look effortless. What could have been a simple gag turned into an action sequence that felt real, dangerous, and full of energy. The skateboard itself became a symbol of Marty's creativity and quick thinking, a modern twist on a cowboy's horse. It wasn't just cool, it was pure 1980s rebellion on wheels. Fact 14. The lightning scene that nearly went wrong. The clock tower lightning sequence is one of the most iconic moments in Back to the Future, but behind the scenes, it was dangerously real. During filming, Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown, was harnessed high above the set to reconnect the cable that would send Marty back to 1985. At one point, the safety rig briefly slipped, leaving him dangling in midair for several tense seconds. The crew froze, terrified, until Lloyd managed to steady himself. Later, he joked that the panic on his face in that scene wasn't acting. It was genuine fear. The stunt was eventually completed safely, but that near accident gave the sequence its unforgettable realism. Every spark, every shout, every desperate motion feels authentic because for a brief moment it was. Movie magic, it turns out, sometimes comes with real danger attached. Fact 15. The subtle changes that show the future was fixed. When Marty finally returns to 1985, at the end of Back to the Future, everything looks almost the same, but not quite. His family's home is brighter, his parents are happier, and even their clothes fit better. The once awkward George McFly now stands tall and confident, while Lorraine looks energized and fulfilled. These small visual shifts weren't random. They were carefully planned by the filmmakers to show that Marty's actions in the past truly changed the future. The house, the car, and even the way the family interacts silently tell the story of a healed timeline. It's not flashy time travel, it's emotional payoff through set design and performance. You don't need a narrator to explain it. You feel that the McFlys finally got the future they deserved. Fact 16. The phone call that created a paradox. One of the funniest and most debated moments in Back to the Future happens during the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. After Marty rocks the stage with Johnny B. Good, Marvin Berry calls his cousin on the phone and says, "Chuck, it's your cousin Marvin. Marvin Berry, you know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this." The joke is brilliant. It suggests Marty accidentally inspired Chuck Berry's own hit song, creating a time loop where the future influences the past. Some fans see it as a clever paradox, others as pure comedy, but either way, it's unforgettable. The scene perfectly captures the movie's spirit, playful, unpredictable, and full of irony. Marty doesn't just save his parents, he unknowingly rewrites rock and roll history with one electrifying guitar solo. Fact 17. The music that almost didn't exist. It's impossible to imagine Back to the Future without its soaring orchestral score. But at first, Steven Spielberg wasn't sure about composer Alan Silvestri. Spielberg thought his style might not fit the mix of comedy, sci-fi, and heart the movie needed. Director Robert Zemeckis, however, trusted Silvestri completely. When the composer unveiled the now iconic main theme with its triumphant brass and racing rhythm, everyone instantly knew it was perfect. The music didn't just accompany the action, it amplified it, making every chase, leap, and emotional beat unforgettable. Even Michael J. Fox said the score gave Marty's adventures real lift. Ironically, the film about time almost ran out of time for its own soundtrack. Today, that fanfare is instantly recognizable worldwide, a reminder that sometimes the boldest creative risks create timeless results. difference. Fact 18. The vest that became an icon by accident. Marty McFly's bright orange vest, often mistaken in the film for a life preserver, was never meant to be that color. The costume department originally designed it in a dull brown, but under California's sunlight, it looked flat and lifeless. At the last minute, they switched to a vivid orange that popped on camera. The result? Instant icon. The vest not only made Marty stand out in every scene, but also became one of the most recognizable pieces of 80s movie fashion. Even the running gag about everyone thinking he's wearing a life jacket was improvised on set. It turned a practical wardrobe choice into a visual joke and a pop culture symbol. Sometimes movie magic doesn't come from special effects. It comes from a last-minute color change that lights up the screen. Fact 19. Why there's no Back to the Future Part 4. Fans have begged for a fourth movie for decades, but co-writer Bob Gale has been crystal clear. It's never happening. Gale and director Robert Zemeckis believe the trilogy ended perfectly and don't want a reboot or sequel without Michael J. Fox. In interviews, Gale said making another film would feel like trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice. Instead, they've kept the spirit alive through the Broadway musical and special anniversary events. For the creators, Back to the Future isn't just a franchise, it's a complete story about family, destiny, and time itself. Hollywood has offered massive sums for a reboot, but they've always turned it down. Some things, Gale says, should stay timeless, and Back to the Future already achieved that. The saga didn't need another trip through time to become immortal. Fact 20. The movie that keeps time traveling through culture. Even decades after its release, Back to the Future refuses to fade away. Every anniversary brings new documentaries, fan theories, and never-before-seen behind-the-scenes stories. The film continues to inspire everything from video games and theme park rides to pop culture references in shows like Stranger Things and Rick and Morty. The reason it endures is simple. It's not just about time travel. It's about choices, family, and the wish to fix what once went wrong. New generations keep discovering it, and it still feels fresh, funny, and full of heart. In a world obsessed with sequels and reboots, Back to the Future stands out as something rare. A movie so perfectly crafted that it keeps traveling forward in time on its own, one fan at a time. From a simple yearbook question to a time-traveling DeLorean, Back to the Future proved that imagination, heart, and a little lightning can create something timeless. Every hidden detail, every near disaster, every laugh shaped a film that still inspires decades later. It's not just a movie about going back, it's about moving forward with courage and curiosity, because sometimes the best way to see the future is to take one last look at the past.